Hello again. Welcome back to the concession stand. I'm your host, LeBeau and This week I have with me Jacob.
Sweet. I'm glad to be here. Like I said, I'm Jacob. I'm LeBeau's roommate.
What are we talking about this week?
Talking about new Tron. Tron
Yes.
Ares just came out.
Yes. So, Boilerplate, what did you think?
So this is actually, I hadn't seen the other two Trons, so I just went in. This is my first time ever seeing any of the movies in the franchise. So my kind of analysis was the visuals and soundtrack were very good. I enjoyed those. The plot and acting, not as much. And that's kind of my general overtake. I heard someone say if you go to the movie expecting it to be like a concert with visuals, you won't be disappointed. If you go looking for a complex plot with moving acting, you might be a little disappointed. In a nutshell, that's kind of what I thought.
Right. And I have a complicated relationship with that movie. Personally, I think it was all right. It's definitely the weakest entry in the franchise. That's not saying it's bad, but perhaps also I was my expectations were a little askew because I was looking for the kind of philosophical edge that like Tron Legacy had, and I didn't really get that. I thought Jared Leto's performance was a little wooden, which I mean, I guess he's a computer program, but still, it's like you'd want something a little more human because
Especially when
he's
he's the main
trying to be
character.
human. But I totally agree that the visuals and score were top notch. It would be a 9 if it weren't for the struggling performances. But like, yeah, like with the action, I had a blast. I think for me, what speaks to me about Tron is, it's just very complex, like world building and that kind of stuff. Wow. I'm realizing I have not much to say about this movie.
Yeah, well, I will say, when I saw the trailer for it, I was excited. Just, I think the trailer made it look like it was going to be good. Then again, trailers can be misleading, They're
It's kind
taking
of the job.
right, 2-hour movie into 2 minutes, so you never really know. So I was looking forward to it. It was one of those movies that, even though I hadn't seen the two previous, I was looking forward to see. And so I will say it was a bit of a letdown just from the trailer's perspective. But I feel like they just left a lot on the table.
Right.
Like, it wasn't a bad movie, it was, but I just feel like there's a lot of moments that they could have went further on, but they didn't. And I can feel like there's only really one like kind of chase scene in the whole movie when, on the bikes and at the beginning.
I mean, that
It was
was
good. That was
fairly...
probably my favorite, honestly, like sequence was that chase scene,
Yeah.
which I liked. I just wish they maybe had a little bit more of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think. So, what do you think this conversation should be about? Do you want me to try to convince you to watch Tron and Legacy, or just talk about Ares?
I mean, I think,
Like, are you interested?
yeah, I think, I am interested now in going back and watching the other two. So I think I don't know if you need to convince me of that. I mean, you can share what you thought about him for sure, but I
Mhm.
think I probably will just because I'm curious. But
So you've never seen any other Tron movies. What, was Ares, like, your very first, like, introduction? Like, "Oh, I don't know what Tron is at all."
yeah, I mean,
Like
I'd heard the name and I'd heard some of the music before. I
mm,
think of the second one, so I was aware of it, but I really didn't know any of the plot. Like, I knew there was like guys throwing discs and stuff. That was a very rudimentary
right.
understanding. Um, but where would you say that this one ranked? Like, would you say it was?
It's definitely the weakest of the
Yeah.
trilogy,
Uh,
but, I mean, okay. So the first Tron came out in 1982.
right.
So it was, very primitive in the visuals, but, well, I guess primitive by today's standards, but revolutionary for the time.
Hmm.
And I think that's what gets people excited about the Tron movies, but I think there's more depth to it than people give it credit for.
Right, because it's all about going into the grid, right?
Yeah.
Like into you know the themes of AI technology, the impact that has in society, right? And that first one came out in 1982. That was ahead of its time for sure. I mean, obviously there were it was heading that way, but the fact that they even did it now, so that's why I did think that
Mhm.
Ares was, it did try to make attempts to comment on the impact that AI could have.
Mhm.
Obviously, we're not at the point where it's creating, you know, beings
Yeah.
that run around, but, you know, I think it was trying to make some sort of a commentary on, you know, that discussion of how much should we give AI, like what's its role in society and at what point will it become uncontrollable and things like that. So I I appreciate that commentary, at least from Aries, but um like I don't know how that the other two I haven't seen, so I don't know
Yeah.
what that was
Uh, I
in those
think
movies.
I think the emotional core of the first two was this relationship between Kevin Flynn and Tron, the titular Tron. And in the original 1982 film, Tron was this security program,
Hmm.
um, written by Alan Bradley. You probably don't even need to know that, but anyway, so he was this security program who always fought for the users. And um, in this franchise and in this world of the grid, the users are basically viewed as gods.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And
This is the first one.
yes,
Okay. Gotcha.
so no one, none of the other programs believed in the users anymore because they were being stolen by the MCP, the
Which
Master
are
Control Program.
okay.
Um, and I actually think it's kind of funny now that I think about it that this one is about AI,
Hmm.
and you think about what the methods that are to train AI
Yeah.
is, like stolen IP, and
Yeah.
that's what the entire first movie was based off of, was Kevin Flynn, um, was a was a programmer at Encom, and he made all these popular games, but Ed Dillinger stole them
Hmm. Yeah.
and basically said, rose through the ranks in Encom and said, "Okay, yeah, you don't have a job anymore." And so he boxed Kevin out, stole his tech. Um, so I thought that was kind of funny. I think that's kind of funny. Um, then you get to Legacy,
Hmm.
which uh, takes takes place 20, 28 years later. Kevin Flynn is trapped in the grid.
Hmm.
His son thinks he just abandoned him,
Gotcha.
which I guess he kind of did.
So he disappeared when his son was young.
Yes.
So his son never really knew him.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it was like 8 or 10 when Kevin disappeared.
And how did he get trapped in the grid?
So he made a program, basically a digital clone of himself called Clue. And because his wife died and he had a son to take care of, he was like, okay, I can't spend all my time on the grid. So here's my emissary. Build the perfect system. Clue took it too far because when Kevin discovered naturally forming digital life, the ISOs, isomorphic algorithms, Clue saw them as an imperfection. And so he basically massacred all the ISOs. And basically had his tyrannical reign over the grid. And let's see.
So I'm seeing a theme here.
Yeah.
Like, as you're describing these other two movies, of how it starts with good intentions, right? Creating a security program, whatever it is, and then obviously, inevitably, it kind of starts creating its own kind of agenda, right?
Yeah.
And like we saw in this Tron Ares, where, what was the guy's name? The head of was it Dillinger? Like
Julian Dillinger?
Yeah, wherever the guy was over the company that was creating Tron, he was giving directions to.
Oh, are you talking about? Are you talking about Kevin Flynn or?
I'm talking about, I don't know what his name was in the movie, but Evan Peters was the actor.
Yes. Yeah. Julian Dillinger. Yeah. Ed Dillinger's grandson.
Right. So he was giving Ares, command. He was the master commander, whatever. He was giving him instructions, and at first he was obviously complying, but then when he gave the order to basically go after the other company and find and steal their code to permanence, he decided to disobey that order.
Yeah, that's what he got bitten by the NCOM bug.
Right. He just had was like empathy, or he started to question, and ultimately went on his own. He went rogue against what the initial AI was supposed to do. And
what do you think makes Ares so different from Athena? I have a theory about that. I think maybe because Ares went through this like machine learning process and is more of an intelligence.
Because he was the first one, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And I think Athena is more of a program.
Yeah, I
think that may be why she took it as far as she did.
Yeah, I think the longer an AI system is around, it starts to almost develop, just like humans. As we go along in life, we have experiences, we change over time, and we start making decisions based on previous experiences, right? And I think we see the same thing with AI. In fact, we even see it in today's world. I've heard of AIs like being told to, like, they're trying to like get rid of an AI system, but the AI like basically
copied itself.
Yeah, copies itself somewhere else so it doesn't get destroyed, right? So it's already
it's almost like we've seen movies about this.
Yeah,
for a long time.
Right, we've seen so many of these movies. Now we're actually seeing it kind of in real life. Age of Ultron is another example that comes to mind, of and yeah, I think that's just kind of, now that we're talking about it, I think that's what makes Athena and Ares different. It's like you said, I think it's because Ares, I'm trying to remember what was that moment that he started to have like empathy for her. Do you remember? Because he looked into her life, right? He went through all the databases.
I think
And he saw that her dad had died, right? Or her sister.
I think that's where interest started,
Yeah.
and then I think it built in levels.
Mm-hmm.
So he basically kind of cyber stalked
Right.
Eve
Eve, that's her name.
and found out everything he could about her, and I think that's what piqued his interest.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they went to infiltrate Encom, and Cameron Monaghan's character gets derezzed and
That's
like
right, because they go
doesn't
in.
get brought back. He's like,
Yeah.
bro, why isn't he reconstituted?
Is that the orange-haired dude?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when
Yeah, he was in this like 15 seconds of screen time.
yeah,
Feel
I
bad about that.
think he probably had more to do in earlier drafts, but
Yeah.
at least I hope. But I guess he was kind of catalyst.
Oh, of Ares starting to ask questions like
Yeah.
why don't we bring this guy back?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's like, yeah, his master control doesn't care about him at all. He's
Right.
expendable.
That's true. He's like, well, if you did that to him, you could do that to me.
Yeah.
Right.
And he's been derezed so many times in the real world
Yeah.
because of the 29-minute time limit.
Right.
Um,
And doesn't he ask him a question? I feel like he
he's like,
asked.
why wasn't he reconstituted?
Right.
He's like, yeah, well, he was defective.
Yeah.
So I think that's another layer.
Mm-hmm.
And then after the chase, and he's starting to derez, that's when he sees an example of empathy.
Oh,
Of
right.
like,
Right.
he's Eve's enemy,
Uh-huh.
and she's still like, bro, you're derezing. Like, this is terrible.
Uh-huh.
And then that's, I think, why. That's when.
That's true. It's kind of those things happened close together.
Yeah.
Right? Like back to back, those both things. And then so when he did come back, because then he's like, go after her again.
You know, the more I'm talking about this movie, the more I think I like it.
Yeah, I know. I will say I think it does. It's gotten kind of a bad rap. You know what I mean? Like just overall, like obviously there's mixed reviews, but from what I've seen, I think it's getting more hate than it probably deserves.
It's because of Jared Leto.
Yeah.
It's.
I think most of it's directed at him.
I mean, like.
So everyone's focusing on him and not really focusing on the movie as a whole.
Yeah.
Which, so if there was another actor that played Jared Leto's role, then I think it might have had a better chance. But
It's just a little tough because, like, I can't completely knock the guy because without him, Ares wouldn't have existed.
right.
Like,
Yeah, because they told him like I think it was like 10 years ago is when they initially started
yeah,
talks to make this.
and like
Yeah.
he pushed Disney like, hey, I want to make this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's an audience for it. There is. I still think there is.
Yeah.
I think there might be hope for a fourth one if streaming numbers are good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the audience score right now is better than the critics score. I think it's audience is like 86 or something, and the critics is like 50 something. But
critics never got Tron.
Yeah,
and
I think I trust.
It's funny actually. Ares has the best critic score
right
of all three. Yeah, which is wild.
And I trust audience score a lot more than the critic score.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I mean, right. I think now that I'm talking about it more too, I think there's a lot to kind of dive into and kind of unpack. But
so, do you just have a problem with Ares or with Eve too, with the performances and stuff?
I would say I think Eve is the I think she gave a pretty good performance as far as I think she did a good job in her role. I think she was probably the most relatable. You know what I mean? Because like you said, Ares was supposed to be a AI. He was supposed to be computer generated. So there wasn't as much of a human. You weren't supposed to relate with him as much. So I think Eve kind of filled that role. Um,
I'm torn just because, like,
but then again, she wasn't the main character, right? So whenever you have a film where not the main character is the more memorable of the characters, that to me is usually doesn't really help the movie, right? You want the main character hopefully to kind of be one of the more memorable performances. So um
I'm struggling just because, like, I want to say that I like Jared Leto's performance, but it's just like
if this was the first
Tron was a program as well.
yeah, if this was the first movie I've ever seen with Jared Leto without his past, maybe. I do think is unfortunately, like, I remember seeing Morbius, and to this
I
day I think that's one of the worst movies I've ever seen. And so that unfortunately has tainted my view of Jared Leto and
the only thing I've ever seen Jared Leto in was the Snyderverse.
of the Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that one was
No,
he
no,
was a Joker, right? Or
the Snyderverse, Justice League.
no, okay,
So the Elseworlds kind of deal.
but he was the Joker.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So now that's the thing too. Would actors have that kind of burden on them, whatever other roles they've had, right? That kind of
Yeah.
carries over. So even if they do give a good performance in a specific movie, I feel like people view them through a different lens.
Yeah. And
And
I do think it's unfair
yeah, I
to
do too. I think you
judge.
should take each individual.
Well, and not even that, but like to judge an entire film just by a bad actor, and not just like, hey, this guy is bad at acting, but like a bad person. Although I hate that phrase. A controversial
Yeah,
actor, I should say. And it's the same thing with like people boycotting Ghost of Yote.
yeah. I think they just you go into it like kind of expecting them to be bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that even if they are good, you kind of view them through that lens, which
Yeah. And it's like,
right. But I honestly, now I think about it, I don't think his performance wasn't. I think it was
it was all
decent.
right.
It was
It was
yeah.
all right.
It wasn't crazy good, but it wasn't crazy bad either. You know. So
Yeah.
I
I,
mean, but like I said, in order for a movie to really be stand out, they kind of have to. That's what makes it an okay movie into a great movie is
yeah.
right. Is that so? That's where I kind of sit in the middle, where it's like it was fine, but I just feel like they left things on the table, and I will say there was one funny moment that I laughed in the theater when it was during the chase scene when I think it was Athena. She like catches up with Eve,
Mhm.
and then like Eve like pushes her off it's like the parking garage,
Mhm.
and like pushes her off. She falls down, and then she like looks back, and then she's gone. She's like, "Where is she?" And then it's just like dead quiet, no music or anything. You just hear her running up
Yeah.
these like she's just like running up the um
Up the ramp. Yeah.
yeah, it's just like
That was
a
pretty
10
funny.
like 20-second clip of her just running. I don't know, it just cracked me up. So that was probably the one laugh I had, which
What do you think? What did you
yeah.
think of the pace? Was it too quick?
I mean, no, I think you want that kind of movie to be quick, and I think
I think that might be why I struggled a little bit with his change from enemy enforcer to kind of low key anti-hero. Just
yeah,
because it moved at such a fast clip.
yeah, right, and I think you have to decide, like, what kind of movie is this gonna be, and
Yeah.
right, some movies are gonna have different pace based on what they're trying to accomplish, and like I said, I think like I said, I haven't seen the other two, but just from what I've kind of learned about Tron, it does seem to move like faster, kind of have a it relies more on the. I don't know
Oh,
about the other two, but this one definitely moved.
so the other
Um,
two, I would say that it's slower
mm.
until like midway through Act Two. I think if we had a little more time to sit with um, certain things, and they tried to slow it down when he went into the 1982 grid, but
Also, with that, could you understand what they were saying? I feel like it was hard to hear for some reason. Maybe it was just the theater I went to, but it seemed like the audio was a little bit.
did you go with Regal
No,
or
it was
Fat Cats?
Paramount.
Oh, that's who.
Yeah, I mean the rest, but like the rest of it, I could hear fine. It's that one scene for some odd reason that maybe it was just I don't know, like the audio because I feel like that was an important part, right? Because that he talked to the original guy,
Yeah, and
and
they both do talk kind of soft,
yeah, it's true, I guess.
and
Um,
maybe the music was a little too hot, but
right, because that was a point that I feel like it was opportunity to slow down and really
yeah.
nail what they're going for, but
And
it was yeah, it was kind of.
I thought Jeff Bridges was great.
Hmm.
I don't think Jared Leto was a great scene partner in that. Just because, like,
Yeah, it just kind of
oh, I like Depeche Mode. Why? It's a feeling.
yeah, it was just
Awesome
like going
human.
going just kind of down. Yeah, it wasn't like the whole give and take. It
Yeah,
was just kind of a one-sided conversation, and
which is very weird. It's like you'd think with Jared Leto's like filmography, he could do Zen.
right. Well, and I heard he did the whole method acting thing for this. So the whole time they were shooting,
Yeah.
he was basically stating character as Ares. So he wanted all the rest of the cast to refer to him as Ares. So he basically was acting like an AI for whatever, like 3 4 months, for however long they were shooting it.
Oh,
And yeah, I think he might have just, you know, that might have just kind of hurt it. Like I said, it is an AI, so it's not going to be a full on, you know, dramatic human
mhm.
performance of the whole human emotion. But I feel like it should have been, and along the way, because that was kind of his. By the end of it, he obviously became permanent, and
Mhm.
he went off to do his own thing. Um, so he did slowly but surely get more and more, like he was discovering himself. But yeah, I feel like the vast majority of the movie, he was very kind of, like you said, is
Wouldn't.
yeah, yeah, and it's hard for audiences to relate to that.
Yeah.
And I think going back to movies, right? I think that's what audiences really go for to characters they can relate to. That's what really sticks with you. Is so I think this movie, like I said, I don't think this is what this movie was going for. I don't think it was supposed to be a movie that left you like, oh, I totally relate to this AI program because we're
Yeah.
not AI, you know. So I don't think that was the goal of the movie. Um,
I honestly think the goal of this movie was to have cool visuals,
yeah,
great sound, great music.
right, and I did enjoy that.
That's but that's also why I'm a little frustrated because I just feel like there's more to Tron than that.
Sure, yeah, and I'm sure you would be if you had seen the other two. Like I said, if and then for me, it was just the one. So I just I thought the visuals and sound was cool. Um, the ending, what do you think?
Oh,
Like,
like are you talking like the mid credit scene?
well, that or just like how it ended. What did you think about how it ended? Like, just the whole.
It makes me excited for a fourth installment.
Uh-huh.
I don't
Or
know how I
like,
feel about Jared Leto continuing to be a lead, but
yeah.
I think there's definitely some cool setups,
Hmm.
um, like in the works and stuff.
Right, because the Dellinger guy gets sucked into the grid, right?
Yeah,
So that could be interesting.
Yeah, and I
You know?
think that particular scene would make more sense if when you watch uh Tron 1982.
Yeah.
But overall, what would you give it on a scale of 1 to 10?
On 1 to 10, I'd probably give it 6.
6.
5.5. 5.5.
Dang.
Yeah.
Even
I mean,
after this conversation.
yeah,
What was it before? A 4?
yeah, I was probably like a 4 before, but now we've talked about it, I've given it a little bit more credit than it. I mean, depends what criteria we're using, you know?
Right.
Like I said, I could, on the visuals and the sound, I'd probably give it 8 or 9, you know?
Right. But just the
But
acting brought it down
if
that
the acting,
much.
right? So to take all that into consideration, like I said, I think a movie that I would really rate high has to have good acting, a character or multiple characters I can relate to,
Mhm.
good plot, has to have all those things. And I think, like I said, it had 2 things, but it was lacking in both plot and acting, so that's what gets a lower score for me.
Right.
So, but I like to take what I can from it and appreciate what I can. And, like I said, I don't think it deserves all the hate that it's getting.
And I don't either.
And if you haven't seen it, I would say, I don't know when this is coming out, but I would at least go see it.
That's
It might be.
probably like December 18th or
Okay.
something.
So
So it's probably gone by
probably gone
then,
at that
but
point. But
definitely check it out on Disney Plus when it hits,
yeah.
because I think it's actually a pretty good movie. It's not the best in the franchise, but it's pretty good. For me, I tend to rate movies higher. Like, to me, I think it was like a 7.5.
Yeah.
It was a 7 before,
Mm.
but now talking about it more, I think it's bumped up a little bit. But with that being said, that's our show. Brought to you by Popcorn, Fumes, and a Prayer. Our executive producer was Penny Pincher. Director of photography was Cam Speed. First AD was Slade Clapper. Audio by Check12. Legal was by Sumi Idaria. Makeup by Make You Pretty. Our marketing wizard was Trey Lur. Stunts by Fallen Hard. Script notes were from Paige Turner. Our editor was Seymour Takes. Transportation was via Miles Away. And Uni Matters are handled, as always, by Salary. Special thanks to BYU Idaho, to the BYU Idaho Communications Department for the studio space and equipment. Thanks for listening and or watching.